Hello, my fellow YouTube family. Hey, Sarge. I know I've been away for a while, probably about a month. During that away time, we bought a new puppy. so we bought a Cane Corso puppy, and he's been taking up a lot of my time. I am a certified dog trainer. So we bought him. He was 3 months old. He's 4 months old. So I've been trying to get on him early for his training wise. At 3 months old. Normally we usually start training dogs at 6 months old. Get a lot of the play out of them, but I'm jumping on him early because he's a Cane Corso. He's a very large puppy. He's gonna be a very large dog. Alright, so I finally got time to do this video. And this video is going to be centered around my Modwright instruments components. I met Dan Wright, the owner and CEO of Modwright Instruments. I think it was probably in 2015 when I fell in love with this power amp, the KW A 150 Special Edition. I think I first ran into this amp at the 2015 Capitol Audio Fest, which is put on by Gary Gill. Alright, so that is the first component that I fell in love with this power amp. Like I said before, I just love power amps. Anything that can create power, I love it. And this amp is a thing of beauty. And what really got my attention was the styling of it with the Modwright instruments, the blue light when you turn it on, the KW 150 Signature Edition, and I love the way when you look on top of it, the metal work, the blue light inside. I just love this amp. It's at the 2015 Capitol Audio Fest. It was astonishing. I loved it. The build quality, the sound quality. So I ran into the amp before I ran into the owner. I meant the builder, Daniel Wright. I was talking to Lou Hinckley of Dallas Audio because they shared the same room. I asked him about the power amp. He said, well, it's not mine. It's a guy named Dan Wright. So I waited till Dan got back and we discussed this power amp. And yeah, we worked something out that I was able to purchase it. Didn't have cash money at the time. Went through a divorce. So Mr. Wright worked with me to obtain this amp. Love it. Alright. And also in this my next recording is going to be with the Oppo. Some call it Oppo. I call it Oppo. I had this modified by Dan Wright. It's an Oppo 205. The player itself is delicious sounding without the modifications. But as soon as I bought it from Overtures, I sent it right out to Modwright to get it modified. And what they do is put in a tube output stage. See? Modwright Truth Modifications. Instead of a solid state output stage, he converts it to a tube output stage. And it has a cord back here in the back. I never can say this word. Umbilical cord. Right there. That goes out to its own outboard power supply. Alright, so once again, I think there are 6 922 tubes that they put in the output stage. Now this is a DVD player, so it had 2 outputs. The 2 channel output it's going to go through these two tubes here into your preamp, the 2-channel stereo output. So these only affect the 2-channel stereo output. Now the 5-channel or 7-channel other input, you can use that also as well, instead of using this all the time with the outboard power supply, which is right here. And that is also tube rectified, the power supply for the oppo. Now the tube that comes with it is a 5AR4 small tube, so you couldn't even see the tube. The 5AR4 tube you couldn't even see in here because it's so small. So I changed it out to a PS Vane 274B, which is a lot bigger tube. I think it looks better because you can even see this tube, how it sticks out from the body. So I replaced the rectifier tube. So this is what you get when you, well, you could send your oppo to Dan for modifications, but oppo no longer make DVD players. So this thing is high value now because the DVD player itself was a thing of beauty, and I got it modified at Modwright Modifications. Alright. So also Dan used to modify the Cambridge Audio screamer, which I have. Alright, this is my Cambridge Audio screamer. Dan used to modify these. Sorry for the dust. But I contacted him about modifying mine. This is CXN V2 music screamer. He said no longer do it because they couldn't obtain the parts from Cambridge Audio anymore. But he said he started something new. I said, what's that? Let me turn my lights on here. Hold on a second. Man, the dust is really showing up. So he no longer modified the Cambridge Audio screamer, but he told me he had something else that he invented, and that was the analog bridge. So instead of modifying other people's components like CD players or whatever, he created the analog bridge. It had, once again, this came also with the 5AR4 rectifier tube. I replaced that with the 274B, which is right here. I think this is a land lay tube out of China also. And they come with a 6SN7 output tube, which is here. Now, they were small tubes. I replaced them tubes too. I like big tubes. So I replaced them. I think this is a land lay also, 6S97. I think I'm saying the right number. Let's check real quick. Alright, so it had two output stages. Alright, two different types of tubes. They're wrong focus in. 6S. I don't know if I can get the focus. There you go. 6SN7 is the bigger tube. With your switch here, you can switch up to a 6922, which is the smaller tube right here. Alright. So 6SN7, a output stage, or input stage. I guess it's output stage. The rectifier tube is my replacement. I also replaced the 6SN7's land lay. Land lay is a tube company out of China that came out of PS Vane, and PS Vane came out of Shoe Gang. I know a lot of folks knock different tubes from China, but whatever makes your boat floats. I do my own thing. So, you got two output stages, two different types of tubes. You can switch it from one to the other, the analog bridge. I got it so that you can turn this switch off and you can still play. You can go through the bridge without the bridge affecting your signal. So that's cool. If I turn this off and on. This is your mute button. Now it was set up to, I had it in front of my Sony SACD777 SACD player, and I had the Sony for over 20 years, the 7770S, 50-pound beast. But it gets so that it plays when it want to play. That's very annoying. One time I took it out and let it set up for 1 year, brought it back, and it worked. You know, you keep hitting the button, it won't play, it'll read no disc. Probably on the 10th time I fooling with it, it'll start reading the disc. I got tired of that, took that out of the system. Already had 3 CD players in the system. So now I'm the Oppo. Oh, back to this, the bridge. I had the bridge first of all, and from the Sony. And I love the way it sounds, because the Sony is solid state. I had that solid state CD player going through the bridge to the preamp. All right, and I love that sound so much that I wanted to hear it all the time. So I did something I said I would never do. That's to put a component between my preamp and my power amp. So in order to get that sound on a continuous basis, I had to move the bridge from in front of the Sony. The only time I could enjoy it was when I had it playing the Sony through the bridge. But now, I put the bridge between my preamp, which is the Macintosh C2300, to the bridge to the power amp, which is currently now the Modwright KWA 150. Alright, I said I would never put anything between my preamp and my power amp, especially a component. But I broke my own rule on this occasion because I love the way the bridge sounds. And I don't want to hear that every time I played my system. So whatever I play now, it's got to go through the bridge. Unless I can kill the bridge and it won't affect the signal. But I don't want to kill the bridge. The bridge sounds so good. I'm glad it's in my system. So thank you again, Dan Wright. You're the man. I think I met Dan Wright, like I said, in 2015. I asked him his age. I'm like 10 years older than Dan Wright. I think I'm 65. I think Dan is probably mid-50s. I'll say 54, 55. And for him to achieve what he achieved, you know, it's almost remarkable. All right, so that's why when I wanted a phono stage, I was leaning towards the Sutherland phono stage or VPI, because I have a VPI turntable. But I decided to call Dan Wright. I said, hey, Dan, what do you have for me? I'm looking for a phono stage. And Dan said, I got what you need, brother. And here it is. Once again, another Dan Wright Instruments, Modwright Instruments, Dan Wright invention. This is the phono stage, PH 9.0. Moving magnet, moving coil. All right, I had a phono stage. I had a Conrad Johnson, but it was only moving magnet. It was an older version. And I love the phono stage and the Macintosh. It has an excellent phono stage. Moving magnet, moving coil. So I wanted to go with a nice outboard phono stage. And I contacted Dan Wright. This is what we have. This is also a tube. It's all two tubes inside. I forgot the name of the tube, 2 little small tubes. So this also is a tube phono stage from Modwright Instruments. And there it goes, sitting on top of my preamp. I ran out of space. Also, this comes with the outboard power supply. Alright, so let's jump down here to the power supply for the phono stage. And that is right here. So this is the pump. This is the power supply for the phono stage. Alright. Excellent. Excellent. So hats off to Dan Wright and at Modwright Instruments. excellent phono stage. Alright, check that thing out. Got your load impedances. You got your gain. Your power switch. A thing of beauty. So that is my Dan Wright Modwright instruments. I would not hesitate to buy anything from Dan Wright. He's a guy in my book at his age. I call him young because he's younger than me. That's the sorry again for the dust. Need a good cleaning. That's the analog bridge. That's the power supply for the phono stage. It's nice, very nice. And all the dance stuff's well built. Once again, the Oppo 205 modified by Mr. Dan Wright. And the power supply for that Oppo. 2 rectifier, 274B in there right now, but it came with a 5A or a 4 rectifier too. I'm a big tube kind of guy. And this beast, let's get a good look at this. You can kill that light as well if you desire to, but I love the blue light. Alright, you can actually buy 2 of these and run this amp in mono mode. I've seen a second one on the music room, and I went back to try to look for it again, and somebody bought it. So you snooze, you lose. I should have bought it as soon as I saw it, but I contacted Dan. Say, what do you think? He was all for it. So I went back to look for it. I just bumped into my speaker and I knocked off my lady. Hey, she didn't break. Alright. Dan should be very proud of what he accomplished here. He don't have a big organization. It's him and probably a couple more people. Miss Rose Vito, she's a big help also. So you got a Modwright Instruments hanging in there with the Macintosh. I had 2 Macintosh 275s, and the Modwright is not running from nobody. That's my second Macintosh 275. I run them in stereo or mono, whatever I desire at the time. Modwright is also hanging in there with the Pass Lab, which is a marvelous amp, XA 30.8. He's hanging in there with the Mark Levinsons. So Dan, you should be proud of yourself. The big boys. He's hanging in there with the Audio Research. Oh man, VT80 SE. He's hanging in there with the Balance Audio Technology Prima Luna, Conrad Johnson, Macintosh 402, Audio Research VT100, 100, Mark III. Dan, you're doing a great job here. I'm very pleased with you. None of the amps are putting the Modwright to shame. I love what I'm hearing. Musical 580 integrated amp, KW500 with an outboard power supply. So kudos to Dan Wright, Modwright Modifications. doing a great thing. Young man, keep doing what you're doing. You make my stereo sing. I had it out of the system. I put it in about a month ago because I got so many power amps. Each of them take turns. So now it's Modwright turn. Modwright instruments. KWA 150. So my next video that I drop will be using Modwright instruments. I'll use the Apple player, the turntable through the phono stage. Everything gonna go through the bridge to the KWA 150 SE. Once again, kudos, Dan Wright. Alright, Sarge, Mix Match Stereo. It's the name of the channel. Alright, Simplify.